Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 100th episode, the century mark, if you will, of the Elite City Podcast. It's been fun. Everybody is here. Not quite. We have a few people. We have a special guest. I'll introduce him first. My good buddy, known him since he's been in diapers, literally. It's a true statement. Brett, do you want me to say your last name?
Sure.
Okay. One of my good friends, Brett Guerrero. What's up, man?
Hey, Blasky. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Absolutely. Everybody, this is Brett. Brett, this is Janine, Rick, and Biddy.
What's up, y'all?
Hi.
Hello.
Brett is legendary. Me and him have done many legendary things. He's seen Evil Blasco in full effect many times. They don't believe that this is real. They think
you're the nicest person in history.
In my business at that.
Yeah, I've told many people off.
Outside of the blacked out murder windows, you're the nicest person in history.
The blacked out murder windows are real.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, it's all in. You don't cross me, and there's no disrespect, and people are disrespecting this man's place of business. And I mean, what's he gonna do? Fire me? No, I don't work there. Was he gonna tell me to go home? I'll say see you later. So I told him off, and it was over. It was awkward after that for definitely a solid 15 minutes, but didn't. It was just part of the
Blasco experience.
Exactly. That's
it's one of my favorite experiences.
Most people's. But anyways, starting off with a funny story. We decided we're gonna do something a little different this episode. We're just gonna have a little bit of fun and kind of go over what's going on in AEW. So we had a little bit of homework. Everybody's going to bring a question to the table, and everybody gets to answer it. So Janine was picked to go first. So the floor is yours.
Oh, I don't like being on the spot. I don't have a wrestling question per se, but
Perfect.
So this one is for Rick.
Oh,
basically. So Rick, do you think in 2012, if you never contacted Yager's agent, do you think things going the way they went between all the trades that happened since that whole fiasco, do you think the Penguins would have still won the cup in 16 and 17 back to back? Because my answer is I don't think so.
Yeah, you
I don't know,
take credit for this.
They wouldn't have signed Tyler Kennedy. I know that it was going to be Yager or Tyler Kennedy, and for some reason they picked Tyler Kennedy. No, I'm going to say no, because they probably wouldn't have ended up trading for Phil Kessel, and they probably wouldn't have won the. I agree. I don't think so. I think
so.
I ruined Yager's legacy, but I got 2 Stanley Cups.
Right, we have Rick to thank for back-to-back Stanley Cups.
So there you go.
Wow.
Me directly. Yes, that was. If you don't know what anyone we're talking about,
This is an amazing story.
There was a pretty strong rumor that when Jaromir Jagr left the KHL and came back to the NHL, he was going to sign with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I, at the time, wrote for a Pittsburgh Penguins blog. We had a great idea that we were going to do a live podcast to talk about this. And midway through that live podcast, we decided, hey, it'd be fun if we called his agent, just asked. So we called his agent like 50 times, and he never answered. It was like a running gag every 10 minutes. We'd be like, hey, let's call his agent again. And then he answered and yelled at us for repeatedly calling him. And then the next day, Jagr signed with the Penguins' rivals, the Philadelphia Flyers.
A rumor had it was too, like, the Penguins were ready. Like, they had the website ready and revamped to, like, launch, like, the instant the signature
They literally, like, that was true.
Yeah, they had it ready to go. Like, as soon as the signature was on the paper, boom, the website was going to flip over. It was going to be, like, everything Jagr.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I never knew that part of the story. That makes it.
TSN was mad at us because I was writing for the Score at the time. Bob McKenzie was like, "What are these amateurs ruining everything?" I'm like, yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wow, you made Bob McKenzie mad too.
Yeah,
that's legendary. Wow.
Also, that probably sold bobbleheads. I mean, it would check out.
Yeah.
That's a great story. My favorite Rick story is trade deadline when someone who read one of your tweets live on TSN
Oh,
Or
it's
did
Ray
it just
Ferraro.
Ray Ferraro? Yeah, it was priceless. That was one of the greatest moments in history.
I love because the immediate start of this podcast is just cool things Rick did 15 years ago, and then became a lame old man.
Right. This is a wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
It morphs into that. All right. Well, who wants to go next?
I'm gonna call CM Punk's agent. Just watch.
Oh,
Blasco, I have a question for you.
All right. Let's hear it.
What would the name of your finishing move be?
Ooh, that's good.
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, obviously, it would have to be tongue in cheek.
Well, what would
How
it
would
be?
that one
Like,
work?
what kind of move would it be?
Sick.
Like, assuming you could do wrestling moves. What kind?
Yeah,
of move?
assuming I could do wrestling moves. I can pull off a solid, to this day, 450 splash into a pool. So I'm saying that if I had the guts to actually do it, that I mean, I'd fall apart when I hit the mat, but I could at least do a front flip and land on my stomach. So I would do a 450, and let's see, it has to be something with. It has to be something with Bell Vernon. It has to be. It literally has to, like, a joke that two people would only get. I'd call it the bun bun.
Oh, it sounds so cute.
If you only knew.
It is the reality. It is a pedophile.
Yes, it is.
A
Oh,
local pedophile. He's been around here for years.
Yeah.
oh, that's good, especially that the guy with the blackout windows, painted
Right.
over is
Yeah.
Rolls around with cretins like that. Yeah.
names his move after a pedophile. On brand.
If you saw Bun Bun, you would. This is
He
gonna
looks
have
like
to be.
a cracked out Chuck Norris.
Yeah, that's solid.
And he rides a mountain bike around town.
Yep. And he goes to the local bars and just buys Sprite
And Mountain Dew.
and Mountain Dew. It's incredible.
And he'll save your soul too if you're lucky.
Yeah.
enough to
Oh,
sit
yes.
next to him.
Yeah. Legendary. So yeah, it'd
We
be
should
a
ask that
450.
question for the group, not the pedophile part. The finish.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
It's a good question.
And
Anyone else
thank
have any
you-
good pedophile stories?
nice.
Yeah,
save,
if
Rick.
any of you have any local pedophiles to name your wrestling moves after, shout them out.
I love how good thing this
but if you
isn't
don't-
monetized. Good thing this isn't monetized because I threw it right out the window with naming my finisher after a pedophile. But
We've lost our listeners now. It's just us.
hey, I bet you Bun Bun listen. I can get him to. He has a cell phone. I can get him to listen.
We'll miss you all 10 people that listened.
There's more than 10
Sorry.
people.
Yeah, there's way more than 10 people.
Okay, Biddy, finishing move. Go.
Probably something poop related.
Like as the actual move or named after it?
Yeah, what would the move be, and then what would it be called? It can't be-
You know
it
what?
can't
You
be
know what?
pooping on
It
someone.
would be.
Especially now.
I would
now.
rip off Tony Storm's hip check thing or butt. What do I call it? The butt attack.
Butt
And
attack.
I'd call it the colitis crusher.
Nice.
Oh.
That's pretty metal.
Nice.
Rick, you're next.
I
Next in
can't
line.
even think of me doing a physical wrestling move because I'm frail and old. I don't know. It's a good one. I don't know. I think I'd have to. Yeah, I'd have to be a heel, and it'd have to be like a really cheesy finishing move. Like I'd
Okay.
like poke a guy in the eye, and then when the ref like admonishes me, like do something really wimpy to roll him up. It'd have to be something like that, and I don't know what I'd call it. I think I'd just call it like finishing move.
That's very Orange
Finishing.
Cassidy.
That is
Yeah.
very.
I think my wrestling character would just be like a kind of a little wimp who like, yeah, finishing move is a good name. That's the name.
Finishing.
Quote unquote character.
Yes.
Right. All right, Jay.
Oh, well, I'm not really good with all the names of the moves, but I'd probably do something like coup de grace because that's pretty cool. and
Ah,
it's, like
that's-
fly. Yeah, it's like different. I would say, see, I come from a small town north of the Berg, and it's known for drugs. So,
Nice.
we're going right out the window again.
You guys have great inspiration for your
Oh,
finishing
I
move
mean,
names, by the way.
that's
That's Pennsylvania,
great.
baby.
right.
Hell yeah.
What do you have
Heck
to do
yeah.
in Pennsylvania other than like dick around in the woods and do drugs? I mean, that's it. Those are your options.
Maybe go shoot a deer.
Yeah, fishing,
Yeah,
hunting.
there's some fishing, some hunting.
Make your dating profile picture you actually holding said dead deer because that's your
yeah, there's that
personality.
too.
That's the
Um,
coolest.
Let me think. Finish
Hang
your
out with Bun
move.
Bun.
Hang out with Bun Bun. Yeah.
Put on your list.
Go to
Oh, well,
go to-
there's a nickname for the local high school called Heroin High, so I mean that would work
Oh,
for a fly.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, not good, not
the old
good.
Heroin High.
Old Heroin High.
nice.
Maybe it could be the frog splash or whatever.
Yeah,
Good old
there you go.
heroin high.
You could your pre-finisher could be the Needler.
Oh, that's good.
Sick.
The Narcannon.
Oh, the Narcannon. That's sick.
Oh, that's genius.
That's how you bring them back. That's how you counter the finisher.
your taunt before could be called the Narcan can, and you just do the
gold.
All right, Brett, you have to answer your own question though.
Sure. Yeah, I was thinking on it. It would be called the backdoor kill zone.
Oh,
And I think it would be like a top roper. Somehow I'd want to have them and like land so that my knee was going up their ass.
Ooh.
sick.
That sounds like a Biddy movie.
Like a shooting star or something that somehow
Shooting
lands,
star
lands with their ass on my knee.
Sick. Wow.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That's pretty gnarly. I like it. Okay, on that note.
The rectum ruiner.
The rest
Ooh.
yeah. Wow, ooh, I don't know. That would hurt. Anyways, who's next?
I'll go.
Yay.
What kind of wrestling style would you do if you were a wrestler?
Oh man.
Yeah, mine's wimpy heel. I'd have to be a wimpy heel.
I
And
kinda-
like the kind that like people would get mad that I would be able to win matches because I'd have no redeeming qualities, like including wrestling ability, like none whatsoever, and they'd be mad that I would ever come close to winning a match. Like I could see people being outraged that like
Rick,
yeah, I would win something. That would be it.
you have to watch Alpha One Wrestling. It happens in your backyard. Dan the Dad will be your favorite wrestler.
I know Dan the Dad.
Yes. Dan the Dad is one of their champions. And Rick, you will love him. You will love his humor, his character. It's incredible.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'd want to win a title and then not know how to put the belt on, like try to strap it up and not work. Yeah.
That's
Somehow you like stab it through your hand. The little.
I hurt myself.
oh man.
Yes. That would be it.
I'd
That's
have to like be one extreme or the other. I have to be insanely on the nose because like that's part of my personality, or just brooding and scary. Either or. Like my personality, I would want brooding and scary because I'd have to talk to less people, meaning I'd have less fans. But then I'd make less money. So then I'd have to like dig into my like funny side that I don't bring out unless I'm around close friends, but it would make me more money. So yeah, I'd have to think about it, but it'd be one extreme of my personality or the other.
Like that. I think I'd want to be a high flyer, like an acrobatic type dude, or one of the absurd guys, like Danhausen or something. Someone that just does really silly shit all the time.
See, I feel like Danhausen is the smartest person in wrestling because he
Yes.
hasn't wrestled in forever.
Yeah.
And like he's like number 3 in merchandise sales, and he's like not even on TV anymore. It's great. He's a genius.
It's his character. He's so
Yeah.
good.
He doesn't need anything else but that character. Everybody loves him. And just that character, like he knows that character and how that character would react in every situation. So it's just,
And it's
perfect.
It's not even like Orange Cassidy where like his character is great, but like he has to wrestle like really complicated
Right,
matches
right.
to like redeem his character. Danhausen doesn't even have to wrestle. He shows up like every once in a while and says something.
Right. He
And
shows
then
up and
people are
throws
like-
teeth.
Right.
Yeah.
And then releases 5 new shirts and they all sell out.
And they all
Like,
sell $1 million worth of
He-
shirts.
he recently just did, I think, was it a GCW match with
Mhm.
Effie, and it was like the reuniting of Gaytanic Panic, and he had a bunch of teeth with him. And yes, there's Satanic Panic. It's Gaytanic Panic because of Effie, and he had a bunch of teeth with him for that match. Like he just goes with teeth.
The best.
I actually think I saw clips of that online, and I
Yeah.
don't even like really follow wrestling.
Well, I know he's doing something coming up. He's doing a mixed match, and he's going against Matt. How do you say it? The little Japanese
Maki.
cute girl.
Maki
Maki.
Ito.
That's it. Maki
Mhm.
Ito. That's it. Yeah. I don't know who he's teaming with, but she had Danhausen-esque makeup from the graphic I saw.
Didn't
Ah.
she wrestle with? No, who am I thinking of? Wrestled with Nick Gage. Against
It might-
Allie and Effie.
It might
Maybe
have been her.
I want to say it was Mackie.
It was
I
because
think.
she had the pizza
The
cutter
pizza
on her
cutter.
forehead.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay. So yeah, that'll be great. Danhausen.
Nice.
Biddy, Jay, what are your wrestling characters? What are your wrestling
Oh,
styles?
I feel like because I'm such in real life, like I'm a people pleaser, and I don't want to like make waves, and I don't like confrontation. I feel like my wrestling character would have to be like the opposite of that. Like I'm a mega bitch, and I don't like to talk to people, and I'm mean, and I'm brooding, and nobody likes me. That's like the dream because I'm such a people pleaser, and I'm too nice. I am too nice in real life. That's my problem. I don't know how
You're
to be
pretty
mean.
to
I don't
me.
I don't have a mean bone in my body, honestly. I'm not scary.
Nice.
I'm not threatening.
The way to be.
I'm too nice.
Biddy, who are you?
I feel like I'd be kind of like a brawler, but female version, and also crude because that's I can't seem to help myself. So basically, I feel like I'd be like a John Moxley female-esque. If John Moxley was a gal.
That would actually be really cool if there was like a female John
Yeah.
Moxley wrestler. That'd be
Mhm.
cool.
That would be.
But like, yeah. But I feel like a lot of Vince, if they were going to try, if let's say WWE was going to try to make a John Moxley female character, they'd make her, very butch and probably make
Mhm.
fun of that for some reason.
Yeah.
There's
True,
nothing wrong
true.
with being butch, of course.
Right.
You saying WWE would do a bad job?
Yeah, I am. I'm going there.
Shocking.
I'm going there. Whereas for me, it'd be like, I'm a blonde girl, happy, woo woo woo, and then I just like go freaking nuts and like murder people.
Nice.
Sick.
You're like, what? What's happening? But yeah, so that's what I would do.
I like it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very fun.
All right, Rick, your
Whose turn
turn.
is it? My turn? Okay, mine is
Yeah,
also
who-
wrestling related, and I'm a nerd, so I took it seriously.
Battle.
Mine is if there was no AEW, and in this scenario, there's also no ROH, because assume without AEW, ROH gets like bought out by WWE, and they use their video catalog. If there
Okay.
was no AEW, would you be watching wrestling? And if so, and no ROH, if so, what would you watch?
No, I wouldn't. I didn't watch wrestling for years until AEW came around. And the only reason I knew about that was because I was dating someone that was like really excited about AEW premiering. That's it. I hadn't watched
Yeah.
wrestling since like 2001.
I feel like I had a probably not because I had a falling out with WWE when all the speaking out things came out, and then I got kind of more into actually, Nicholas from Pittsburgh Sports and Mini Ponies actually turned me on to a lot of the stuff in the indies. And that's where I found Effie and all that other good stuff. So I feel like, no, I probably wouldn't watch WWE. I'd probably stick with those kinds of other things if AEW wasn't around.
We had Nick on to talk about
Yeah.
his new
Oh.
queer wrestling thing. It was
And
Yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Oh yeah.
That was
Rough
a good
time.
one. You guys made me do the interview, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're good at it.
You're
Yeah.
great at interviews.
Yeah.
It's your job.
Blasco, you watch more wrestling than anybody. What would you
Yeah.
What would you be watching?
Well, wrestling is just like music. I'd find something. I wouldn't watch WWE just because I was over that. Still have no interest in it. So I imagine New Japan would be in there. I always went to like local shows. So I'd be doing that still. Maybe like not as much. Like I definitely am hyped up on it again, but like it would always just be like, hey, there's nothing to do. Oh, there's this local wrestling. Let's go. Like I would do that, but like I would definitely be watching something, but it wouldn't be WWE. If that makes any sense.
Not to rag on WWE because obviously they're very popular,
Right.
but the wrestling world, like picturing the wrestling world with no AEW and by extension no ROH, is kind of bleak.
Yeah.
Like it's much bleaker than the current wrestling world. And like I haven't seen WWE in forever, but apparently their shows are good and people enjoy them, and that's perfectly fine. But like it just seems like it would be so much smaller if there was no AEW.
Yeah.
Like there'd just be the one company, and then a bunch of like really small indies and like TNA who just continues to exist, but
somehow.
Yeah. But like it's like right now there's WWE, who's obviously the biggest company, and then AEW that's pretty big, and then a bunch of small. But like without AEW, there'd just be like a massive drop from this multi-billion-dollar international conglomerate to like an indie with 50 people at it.
Right. And just AEW existing makes the indies like not necessarily forced to pay more, but it makes them more viable because there's
also,
more
like,
than one place
once
to go.
In a while, like an AEW guy will go to like GCW or something, right, and hype up that show, whereas that wouldn't have happened otherwise.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Brett, what would you be doing?
I would be watching whatever you were watching.
Sick. Sick. See, that's how it starts. That's how it's, I mean, well, we'll just tell this story real quick. That's that is how you got into wrestling. He moved back into our town. He lived one town over, but he bought his mom's house, which is like literally a half a block from my house.
Indeed.
And and I would just, dude, I'm getting pay-per-view this weekend. What is it? Wrestling? Oh, that's stupid. Well, what else are you doing? Come over. Coming over, you're gonna watch it. And one led to two, led to three, and then like he started to ask questions, and it started to stick, and made him a fan.
Yeah, dude. Once I started learning some of the history about it from you, it really got even more interesting.
And the fact that like that AEW is a little more real, based in realism. Like they're hitting each other harder. I mean, obviously you can't fake jumping off something through something, but like the extreme stuff, of course that gets everybody, but the bells and whistles are what drug you in too. And then you got into the more intricacies.
And at very first, it was the sheer absurdity that I love, because that's my favorite type of humor, is absurd humor. And there's no shortage of it in professional wrestling, you know? So
yeah.
I think that's a reason I really like it too. Is it's sometimes like, I mean, I just bust out laughing at some of this stuff. It's ridiculous or absurd and stuff.
I always say, me and Rick talked about it early on in one of the episodes, that WWE back in the day dropped the ball. They should have branded, instead of sports entertainment, they should have just branded it what it is. It's performance art. They said, you should have said, hey, it's predetermined, but it's no different than theater. If they would have said performance art, I think it would have been taken more seriously, and like the whole landscape would have been way different. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, you've said that before. I think I can get down with that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're no different than like going to see a live band or something.
It's like a band or a circus or any other live performance that it's all planned, but it's still live. It's a live performance.
It's like this beautiful mix of like theater and like
sport.
Of sport, theater.
It's like entertainment and sports together. What would you call that?
Performance art.
Yeah.
But I mean, that we've said it a million times. That's what's one of the things that's really cool about AEW is there's something for everybody. You may not like Japanese style wrestling. You may not like hardcore wrestling. You may not like lucha wrestling. But like, there's something in there. There's a comedy act. There's a brawl. There's a something that's gonna make you interested in it.
Ring of Honor is the Japanese one, right? Am I wrong on that?
New Japan is all Japanese. There are Japanese.
What did we watch together recently that was?
Let's see. Well, just the one where Codeman was just with us.
No, the one before that.
One before that was Ring of Honor.
Okay, I thought so. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like Tony Khan is definitely a Japanese wrestling fan.
Yes.
Like based on the way he
He's
writes
an-
things and based.
He's an anything wrestling fan.
Yeah, he really is.
True.
I was actually earlier thinking about like just how when it started, you had all of these guys from the indies. Like how did, he gather all of these amazing people? He gathered MJF and Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta and God, you can keep going, and just had them from AEW at the very beginning, and now they're, killing it and huge. It's like how did this tiny man that runs like 2 other sports teams like find the time to like keep up on the indies and stuff to be able to pull this all together so well so early?
That's the crazy part is he would go to those PWG shows. So like, I mean, Evil Uno, all those guys that were like day one AEW people, like they will probably work for him forever. Like he loved them before AEW was even thought about. Like that's the insane part.
And it's because he knew them that they got hired, because obviously like the Bucks and Kenny and Cody
Right.
were involved, but he didn't hire them without, like, it's not like Cody was like, hey, hire these 5 guys, and
Right.
and Tony Khan just hired them because Cody said he should. Like, I'm sure Tony knew of them already because he's just a giant wrestling nerd. Like when Cody's like, oh, hire this one guy who's wrestled 6 matches in this company no one's ever heard of, and Tony Khan's like, I've been to all the shows. Like, yeah, he's like that. It really is like if you gave any of us $1 billion and just said run a wrestling company.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was in the Bucks book. They said like one of the first, or it was maybe the first time they met Tony Khan for like a meeting. It was after a show in Japan, and like they went to meet him, and they were like, oh, like we were scrambling for like dress clothes or whatever in the locker room, and he had his Bullet Club jacket on. Like he just rolled in from the crowd.
Of course he did.
Right. Well, they thought, oh, this billionaire wants to meet with us. They didn't know who he was. And they were like, then there's this man standing there in our merch. and he's like, hey, guys, how are you? I'm Tony Khan.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't imagine they were like, dude is just that passionate about it. I mean, that's cool, though.
He's like, for some reason, when you talk about Tony Khan, you have to say, like, despite all his faults, or he's not perfect, because people get mad at him a lot.
Yeah.
But, like, the fact that he's done, like, what they've done for wrestling is awesome. Like, if AEW went out of business tomorrow, they've still done something for wrestling that hadn't been done in a really long time and changed things a lot. And it's just really cool.
Well, and I don't say this as his PR, because I don't honestly, like, I don't think it's PR. Like, he just comes across as, like, just a legit, gigantic freaking wrestling nerd.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's one of the few billionaires I don't want to eat.
Yeah, like you can always find, like, billionaire faults of, like, he flies on a private jet. And, like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
but
he's also running 3 different, like, when he was on a podcast that talked about like his typical day, I'm like, when does he sleep? Like,
I don't think he does.
Yeah. It's rare.
That's why he needs all the Red Bull.
Red Bull and coffee.
Yeah, but it's just still, I'm just like, Jesus, he's a billionaire. He doesn't have to do. He could do one of these things and still be busy. And no, he does all 3. Like,
one thing I really love is that he, like, whenever you go to an AEW show, he comes out at the beginning or comes out at the end to talk.
Yeah.
And, like, the first thing he always says is like, thank you for coming here. I love the fans. I'm really glad that you're here. He's like, pretty nice about it. You can't picture Vince McMahon at any point in his career coming out and
No.
saying thank you for coming to my show. Like,
Right.
there's no way.
If I remember distinctly, speaking of that, the whole like 25th anniversary of Raw or whatever they had a few years back, the whole thing was like it came out and they were all like, Vince was like, oh, I couldn't do this without all of you, and it's her, and then he turned it into like being about himself, like. Because it's
Of
Vince.
course.
I mean, he
Yeah,
could never be humble. He,
The line between the Mr. McMahon character and Vince McMahon person is like very, very small and very. I'm starting to think it's not a character. I think that's.
It doesn't think
Oh.
it doesn't exist. It's
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the most hilarious Vince McMahon stories and how much of an ass he is. Right after Hogan, like they bought WCW and Hogan like was officially back in WWE or WWF, whatever it was at the time, WWE, I guess. It was the first Raw back in Pittsburgh. So me and my buddy Frank were like, we have to go. Hogan's going to be there. We haven't seen Hogan since we were kids, blah, blah, blah. Literally the show opens and I'm a Real American starts. The place is going bananas. And then all of a sudden there's a big thing of Vince on the Titantron and he goes, Pittsburgh, you would think that I would want Hulk Hogan to be here tonight, but I made sure he's not gonna be. And he wasn't. And like the whole place just like the air literally went out of the whole arena. Like nobody
I wonder
cared
if
about
that was
anything.
Vince or that was Hogan being like, Pittsburgh's not a big enough city. I'm not coming. I'm only coming to cities with over 10 million people. Like, I don't know.
Either way, it was peak hilarious Vince being vindictive.
Right? What does
Vince
Vince
is-
care? He has your money already.
Right.
Like, what does
Yeah,
he give
we
a
were
shit?
like we
The
were already
WWE
there.
is so weird because it trained us into thinking that's the only way to do things, like to spite the audience. Like
Yes.
everything they did was
Right.
spiting. I remember when, I know it didn't turn out well in retrospect, but I remember when Punk was coming in, everyone's thinking online was like, oh, they should have, Punk's music start, and then he doesn't come out, and then it's MJF or whatever, right?
Right.
Because that's just what we learned about wrestling. Like that's what you have to do. You have to like make the fans mad all the time. Whereas like in AEW, they're like, no, people want to see CM Punk. He's just gonna come out. People want Mercedes. There she is. Like they don't
True.
they don't go out of their way to aggravate you. Where like it's like Vince went out of his way to aggravate you. Like, oh, it's your hometown. You're getting embarrassed. Why? There's no need for that.
Because your whole
It always
family
seems
is
like
here.
wrestlers lose on their birthday too in WWE, especially if it's a big show. Like
Yeah.
if it's
Oh,
a big
yeah.
episode or a big pay-per-view and it's their birthday, they lose or in their hometown too on top of that. It's
And they
like
have to
double
lose like
whammy.
in embarrassing fashion.
Right,
Like, they
it's
can't
never a
just
clean lose. It's just
Yeah.
it's like bad.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you get the cake smashed in your face, and then they go make fun of your parents.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
But for like the last 30 years, like we just thought that that's what wrestling was, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it was. And then Tony Khan's like, you could just not be a total jerk all the time. And people are like, oh yeah, you could do that. And like,
yeah, hey, it works. It's legit 1,000% the opposite of what has happened for the past 20 plus
like
years.
AEW, like when you go to their shows, it's like they want you to be there and they're happy that you're there.
Yeah.
Whereas when you went to like, when I've been to a bunch of WWE shows, all their shows were just like, you're here now, we can do whatever we want. You already paid. Like that
I
was
got-
like the whole thing.
And it's
We
a big
got
commercial.
yelled at in Pittsburgh at Extreme Rules by oh my gosh, my brain just like completely went blank.
Was that for counting down with the clock?
Counting down with the clock. They sent out oh my god, my brain just like completely Kurt Angle. They sent out Kurt Angle and he like was giving us the disappointed dad speech. I mean,
The thing is, the counting down, like the audience at that show was obnoxious. They
oh, it
were.
was so obnoxious.
Like the show also sucked. So
It
Right.
was
like,
bad. It was a bad show.
yeah.
There
So
was
what did
one
you-
Extreme Rules
what'd you
match, and it
expect?
was like literally just Alexa and Nia just chasing each other around with kendo sticks. Like there was nothing going on, and then out
And the main
came,
event was like the IC title. Like they didn't
it was the
try.
Iron Man match, yeah, and that was the one with like the countdown, and people just were bored, and then they turned the clock off for a while, and people were still doing it, and then the clock came back on, but the time was reversed. And people figured that out, and then like after the whole thing, I think it was like they cut to commercial or something, or took a break or something. And Kurt Angle comes out like, I know it was not recorded. There was no way that was on TV. And he was like, he was giving us the disappointed dad speech. I mean, it was so funny.
They weirdly hate their. I don't know. Again, I haven't watched it in a long time. Apparently, it's good now. I don't know. but like they literally they hate their fans. It's weird,
Yeah,
but they hate the
yeah.
fans.
Well,
It's very odd.
wasn't there the whole thing with the Rumble in Pittsburgh and booing people out of the building? I mean, it was
Oh, I
bad.
think-
It was really
I
ugly.
think that was Philadelphia. They bombed. There was a Philadelphia Royal Rumble. I don't know which one.
What?
there was
Something
one-
went wrong in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
No.
No, the show was awful. I remember I think that was one of the last WWE pay-per-views I watched. It was horribly awful. It was when
That is
Daniel
not
Bryan
the place.
at the time just came back. Like when he was not came back from like his retirement, but remember he won the Royal Rumble and then he fought for the title and then he didn't win the Royal Rumble. He fought for the title, won the title, and then got injured and they took the title away from him. Anyway, he came back like right before that Royal Rumble. So everyone's like, oh, he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Nope. He's not in the Royal Rumble. Instead, it was Big Show and Kane slowly lifting people up and dropping them over the ropes and then like mocking the crowd and then getting another guy and slowly lifting them up and dropping them and then mocking the crowd some more. And then at the end, Roman Reigns won. People were not happy.
Wow, well, it sounds
Philly's not
impeccable.
the town to put on a bad show, man. Because
But like it was like a purposely bad show. It's not like
Yeah.
one where they're like, oh, they're trying and it just didn't work. This was like, we're gonna be jerks because you want someone to win that we don't want to win, so we're just gonna put on a bad show. It was weird.
Huh? Weird.
Sorry, there shouldn't have been a anti WWE rant, but what are you gonna do?
That's all right. I'll take the reins for my question.
there you go.
How about
Good
that?
segue. Good segue.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Mine's simple. If you were a wrestler, what all music rights aside, what would your entrance theme be? Any songs on the table?
Oh, we've done this before, and I couldn't think of one.
Right. So I'm forcing everyone's hand.
It's harder than you'd expect it to be because it can't just be a song that you like.
True.
It has to be a song that like fits a wrestler and fits your character, and then like it's interesting. Like it has to have like a beginning that's going to make the audience care. It's hard.
Rick, I just sent a picture of Dan the Dad to the Discord, and that's
All right,
your new.
Are you doing this because we're stalling for time because no one knows what song they would pick?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I couldn't think of one.
Rick's
I
song would
couldn't
have to
think of
be
one.
something like incredibly generic because he's finishing move and that's his thing, like to just purposely like piss you off. Rick's would have to be like happy birthday or like like Mary had a little lamb, like just to be
Yeah, because it couldn't
that
even be
guy.
like classical music because that's too much personality.
The
It would
Full
have to be-
House
yeah.
theme.
Right. It would have to be
Full
like
House
something like
thing.
The Full House theme.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
No, but that's
Metal.
something people might enjoy. You're right. It has to be like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something.
right.
That,
It has to be something that's like people are like, oh, this guy.
that no
like-
one has any interest in hearing. Yeah,
Right.
that would be
And-
great.
And you singing it.
Yeah, like very badly
No, you know
off
what?
key. Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On.
That has too much personality, though. It would have to be no personality.
But you
That-
come out walking and doing that.
Yeah, but that would be funny. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to be dull.
Yeah, no, it needs to be very, very like, yeah, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, Mary Had a Little Lamb.
It
Yeah.
has to be dull.
The
Yeah.
alphabet song. The alphabet song.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
come out to Nickelback for multiple reasons.
All right, this isn't make fun of me time. This is what is your theme music time.
Right.
Well, for me, it for some reason instantly popped in my head the Plasmatics, which if you don't know the Plasmatics, go look them up. They're crazy, but I think it would have to be maybe like Master Plan or something.
Cool.
Anyway, Wendy O. Williams, she was nuts and just looked badass. Like I remember seeing a video of theirs when I was a little kid, and I was like, she looks cool. Probably explains a lot, but
That's most of my childhood summed up. I
yeah.
want to be her.
I mean, she would have her tits out. She got arrested for like having her tits out on stage. Like she had a big old giant blonde mohawk thing. She was awesome.
I think I know of who you're speaking about. I've seen.
Oh yeah,
like
you've seen her. You've seen
for
her.
sure. I guess there's a song that's on a workout playlist that I have, and it's called "There Will Be Blood" by Kim Petras, and I think it would be perfect. I think would be perfect. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's a good walking pace. It's a good, like, just kind of for that kind of character. Like, just like, here I come, I'm gonna mess you up. Like, you better get
Nice.
out. Like, kind of, yeah. It would be a great entrance song, I think.
Brett? Oh, he's not there. Sick.
That's a good entrance theme.
Yeah, I'll go. I would pick I'd say Caboose by Snapcase. It's a good song. High energy. Hey, he's back.
Didn't realize I was muted. Started answering.
Sick. So,
Sorry, Blasky guy.
oh, you're fine. I was done because nobody knows what song I was talking about. Anyway.
Amateurs. Sorry,
Coincidentally, Caboose is my favorite Red versus Blue character.
Ah, very nice. Brett,
I just feel like I always go to metal music. So maybe
100%.
like King by Satyricon or Merciless by R Noir.
Oh,
Or
Merciless
on the
rips,
flip
too.
side, maybe like Mr. Dabalina from Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Another classic song. Oh, see, if you just went that way, I'd go Miles to the Sun by Hieroglyphics.
Okay.
Change one.
I don't know what any of you are talking about.
What
Well,
language is all this gibby gabby?
If you think we're wrestling, if you think I'm a wrestling nerd, well, I'm a bigger music nerd. Yeah.
No
Look
one knows
up-
Del the Funky Homo Sapien?
Come on,
I
Hieroglyphics.
have heard.
Oh,
I don't know any
do,
of their
I
songs,
do.
but I've heard of them.
Come on.
I
Yeah.
do. I've got that one. I'm not into the metals that are heavy, but I do know that one.
I'm
Mhm.
gonna talk about 90s alternative Canadian rock with Biddy.
Yeah, that. I got you, boo. I got you, boo.
Songs about universal health care and shit like that.
That's right.
Hell yeah. And Moose.
Saying sorry.
Being sorry.
Being
Yeah.
sorry.
Sorry
Oh, this
about our
is-
health care.
That's the name. That's the name of the record.
Sorry about our healthcare. Just
Yeah.
we feel bad rubbing it in your face, so we're gonna talk about it quietly.
Yeah. That's the name of the record. Sorry about our healthcare.
That's actually a really good name for an album.
Oh,
One of the
absolutely.
songs would be passive aggressive compliments.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry you were here first. That's that's the first song. That's the opener.
Sorry about all that genocide, eh?
There
Yeah.
you go.
Wow, we just really took that to. Sorry, Rick. You're
I
kinda-
know, it's just ragging
I
on
was-
me all
Since
episode.
Gina's not here,
Yes.
you're fair game.
Yes.
That is
like
true.
Like the Americans have any room to talk about our country's histories. Really? We want to go there?
This is
Number
not the
one.
podcast we're doing,
We're
Biddy. This is
number
not the
one.
podcast we're doing.
Stepping back. I'm stepping back.
So, but,
I have a question if everyone's out of questions. Have we done all our
Yeah.
questions?
no, let's go. Keep it going.
Here's my other question, and it's nerdiness.
Metal.
What is your favorite match, but not necessarily match? What is your favorite like wrestling show, like event, like wrestling show, just like pay-per-view show you've been to, television show, anything?
Okay. Well, I'll start.
All right.
Of all time, I'll break mine down to give people time to think. Because I actually have this list. All-time favorite match, WrestleMania 3, Macho Man, Steamboat. Nothing will ever touch that. I can pretty much watch it if I just close my eyes. I've seen that match so many times. Best show I've ever been to, I would probably say AEW's first. Well, it was their second time in Pittsburgh. It would have been Punk's first time back, and he wrestled Dustin Rhodes, and it was a hell of a match. And just that show in general was a lot of fun. But the best live match I ever saw was D'Lo Brown versus The Rock, Street Fight, SmackDown 97 in Pittsburgh. It was awesome.
I loved
That sounds
D'Lo Brown.
awesome.
D'Lo Brown was great.
D'Lo
was
Brown was
great.
incredible.
I loved him. I thought he was. He got a raw deal. He should have been bigger.
Yes.
I liked him.
He had that
He-
chest plate for a long time.
That was hilarious. I loved it. The chest
you-
protector. He had two. He had the he had the Intercontinental title and the European title. He called it the
Yes.
Eurocontinental title.
Yes.
That was great.
You can ask Brett. This is true statement. Up until 2 years ago, D'Lo Brown was pinned to the front of my bedroom door, and the only reason it's not there anymore, it fell off.
Nice.
I was so upset. Like
Very true.
it was like I think I was like in 9th or 10th grade when I put it there, and then just through the years, no one ever took it down, and the paper was so like dry rotted. I was so angry. I was trying to
I was gonna
stick it
say,
back up.
aren't you like 52 years old? That thing is like ancient.
Yep, 252 years old.
62. 62.
I was gonna say,
Yes, that's right.
you introduced Brett as being like you've known him since diapers. I was like, were like
True.
disposable diapers even a thing when you guys were in diapers?
He's a youngin. That's how old I am.
How much older are you,
Glasgow is
Blasky?
like-
7
I don't
years?
know how old you are. If we're being
Oh,
honest.
so-
6.
Blasco's
You
like
know
a
he-
vampire, and that's why he has paint on his windows, so he can
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he can't go in
he
the
could be
sun.
born in like 1872.
That we
for all
figured it
know.
out.
Yes.
We're 8 years apart.
We figured
8
it
years,
out.
yeah.
So you were born in 1880. There we go.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh,
Right.
so you've known Brett since he was in diapers. You made it sound
Correct.
like you were together in diapers. No.
No.
you-
I'm older than him.
I didn't know
I-
this mother sucker till like 11th grade, I would say.
Oh,
My
so
yeah.
you,
friend
That's about-
introduced me to him.
he was the creepy guy hanging around with high school kids?
He was a creep, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, we're talking about D'Lo Brown here.
Oh,
all
my
right?
bad.
Sorry.
No, you you left out the key point to that story. I went to all school with Brett's older brother. That's how I've known Brett.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
they're the
weren't
same
Okay,
age.
super-
okay.
I'm so confused by your shared history.
So
Yeah,
so
this
you
got-
weren't.
He was here when he was 8, apparently, and I was
Yes.
pooping
So yeah.
myself. And
So he
So
wasn't
I-
a super senior.
Don't
I'm
lie.
no.
You guys still hold hands when you poop together, right?
I'm a
Where
private
did that come
pooper,
from?
Yeah.
Heel
don't like
bitty strikes
anyone
again.
being here.
Oh no, there's no shame. I mean, like,
Hey,
Favorite
Gross.
wrestling matches. Come on, people.
yeah. Yeah, favorite wrestling match. I answered.
I know. I guess it's like it Hell in the Cell '98, man. That
Wonderful.
changed my little. How old was I in '98? 12.
I was a senior in high school.
Yeah, it blew my 12-year-old brains away. I was just like, what? Oh my God, his tooth is through his lip.
Is it more important because it was in Pittsburgh?
I think Steve was there. I have to double check, but I think he was there because his stepdad was like really, and his brother were really into wrestling, and I think he was there for that. But
Well,
I'm not
that's-
sure.
My stepdad would never pay for pay-per-views, but he paid for that one.
They
I-
got tickets, I think, through work. It was one of those deals. The
Yeah.
corporate got them the tickets for
Man,
at the Civic Arena.
What a wild thing. Well, and I got to see when Mick Foley did his I think it was
the
the
thing at
20th.
Smalls.
Yeah, the 20th anniversary of that. I went to that. I actually stood next to one of the videographers because they filmed it for the WWE network, and it was a woman videographer, which I was like, oh shit, I'm surprised they'd hire a woman to man the camera for WWE. But then there were a lot of Jags like bumping into her and shit, and so I decided I went
And
into
one of them was Vince McMahon.
yeah. Get out of my way. But so I, as a fellow female videographer, and also I was like, don't F up her shot and stuff. So I started like kind of like telling people to get away and stuff, and she was like, thank you. I was like, girl, I got you. I know how this is. But anyway, so I was in the balcony and when they filmed it, so any shot from the like little bit to the left of a far shot, I was right next to the camera for that. Anyway, it was awesome, man. But
VIP section up at Smalls up top.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
maybe what I think I might have paid VIP because I didn't want to be around people.
Yeah, it's the only way to go. It's
Uh,
Oh, the only way it smiles now that I've done it is the balcony. It is
Yeah.
the only way. Sit there
Yeah.
and your feet don't hurt by the end of the night, and you know, it's
crush
great.
a weed pen in there all night long.
Oh yeah, lots of weed pen up top.
Unfortunately, that's if you sit upstairs though, and there's fog machines. I have trouble breathing around the fog machines, and it just lingers up there all night. It sucks, but other than that, that's the way to do it at Smalls.
Well, that's what I did for
Again,
that.
I'm completely lost. I
It's
miss
okay.
Gina.
It's a small club in Pittsburgh.
It used to be a church, and
Yeah.
then now it's a club, like a venue. That's
I
where
could
I
be
see
talking to her about poutine and I don't
Right.
know, maple syrup.
I wish I had poutine.
That's where they
Poutine
do
face.
enjoy wrestling, and it's a good time.
It's a good venue.
Yeah.
It is.
Mick Foley, one of like the only, I don't know, 3 good people who wrestled before like the year 2000.
Right. And is still a good person and always has. But I saw him
Yeah.
at the Improv here too when he was doing his stand up. Like, I love him. He's one of my favorites of all
The
time.
number of people
so-
who are wrestlers before like 2010 you can say are good people is very small, and he's
Yeah.
one of
I'm sitting here trying to think.
them.
Like Hillbilly
him and
Jim.
Sting.
Sting, yeah.
Hillbilly Jim.
I don't know anything about Hillbilly Jim, but that's probably a good thing.
You're right. That's what I mean. I'm trying to think of guys that have just like never been arrested or like that are just like just live normal lives.
They're just not
Uh,
awful people. Yeah, it's very few. It's a small
Listen,
number.
I just saw Mick
Hacksaw.
Foley's like senior picture from high school, and he was kind of cute, man.
He was.
He
I
was
Yeah.
a very good
I
looking
remember
dude.
I got I read his first book and his photo was in it, and I was like, yeah, what happened? And then I'm like, oh yeah, he went through a bunch of fire and like tables.
Lost veneer.
barbed wire. Yeah.
To continue with Rick's question about
Yes.
best shows or whatever. So I would have to say for me, the best live show was probably the first, for me, it was the first AEW show that came through to Pittsburgh when they first formed back in like 19.
Nice.
I just because it was like, because of like Ring of Honor, New Japan and all that, especially with how heavy the Bucks and Kenny were within like New Japan. And I think Kenny is one of the best wrestlers of time. I mean, he's just so good. I was like, I'll never get to see Kenny Omega wrestle in my lifetime, I thought, for the longest time. And then AEW came to Pittsburgh, and one of the matches was, I think it was Kenny versus Joey Janela. And that, to me, like, that just was so cool because I think Kenny is just so great, and it was very cool to see that. And I actually got to see that in person, like see these guys I didn't think I was going to ever get to see because of they were working for New Japan at the time. And I was like,
Right.
when am I going to get to see that in person, So
Yeah,
for
that's
me,
another
that
fact
was,
of AEW that like we would have never seen these people live.
Right.
before in
And then
AEW.
and that was when he first started. And I believe Kenny was bringing in a lot of women from Japan for the women's division for that too. And I just thought it was a really cool show, and it was, because it was Britt Baker's hometown, everybody just like went insane. But it was cool. I think that was probably my favorite live show, and I've been to a couple WWE shows and a pay-per-view, and they just did not stand up to that being just generic, like match after match after match. A little bit of story with Jericho and all that, but it was just really like hit after hit. It was just a really good show.
I was
AEW
at
shows
that
are like
show.
nonstop too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first wrestling show ever, actually, and it was a good time. I think that was only like maybe their third Dynamite they ever
Mhm.
did.
It was very
Yeah.
early.
Well, I
Yeah.
remember that's when they threw MJF. Cody threw MJF through like some doors at
Yeah.
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 I was like, well, this is wild. They went and fought on the concourse. I was like, I was just there like taking a pee.
And like the year before, I went to they always have a Raw like right before WrestleMania, and that was John Moxley's last show with WWE
cool.
that I went to. It was the year before, when he left, and it was just such a shit show. And it was the one where they had Batista came out, and because he was in that Mania that year, and they had like him and Hunter screaming at each other, and it was just the crowd was just so awkwardly silent because you're sitting there like, what am I watching? Like,
That
it
was
was
probably
just
the
so
worst
weird.
the worst year of wrestling I've ever seen.
Oh, it was so
that
bad.
year.
Like, give me what
Yeah.
I want. I'm gonna give you a beatdown.
Yeah.
Like nobody, like the crowd was like dead silent because it was like, what are we doing here?
Like
It was
2015 to 2018 WWE was painful.
it was bad. Yeah, that was a bad show. It was bad. And this is one where they like wrecked. They hit Roman. Oh, they hit Roman with the car on the. I don't know if it was that year. Somebody ran the car. Braun ran the car into Roman with the like they were on the parking lot above the hotel next door. It was just that so awkward. It was so bad. So bad. So seeing AEW was really cool to see that show live, and like you say, they do it right. Like, just compared to being constantly let down by the quality of WWE shows.
Absolutely.
My
Before
turn?
we, yeah, I was gonna say before we go, does anyone have anything else? Go ahead,
Well,
Rick.
I didn't get my turn.
Go ahead.
Yes, you did.
I didn't answer my own question.
Oh, go then. Fine,
Yeah.
whatever.
So best match,
Wow.
favorite match, Bret Hart and Stone Cold from WrestleMania 13. That match was incredible. It's a
Amazing match.
It's a perfect wrestling match. I love it.
Yes, it is.
Because you're trying to cut me off, I'll go fast.
No, you're fine.
Favorite show that I've been to. I don't know if I told any of you guys. I went to
Wait.
Forbidden
Can
Door.
I guess? Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's. I didn't know that.
I know I
Sick.
kept it pretty quiet. I know.
know.
No one really
You
heard.
went to
I didn't
Forbidden
make
Door?
a
No way.
didn't make a big deal about this, but I was there. It was really great.
Wow.
No, that was outstanding.
That would probably be my favorite if I went to it.
The Kenny Omega Will Ospreay match. I've never been so like emotionally wrapped up in a wrestling match or really anything ever.
That alone.
It was great.
Yeah, would have. I kind of wish I would have went to it with you, but
I mean, I asked you to come.
I know. But I was like, I have to drive like 5 hours.
Yeah, but it was really good.
Yeah. Well, now I wish I would have.
Yeah, it was outstanding. It was, and even like the Dynamite I just went to, like you guys have said, AEW's shows are just like they're just good. They
Yeah,
don't
They're
stop.
fun.
That looked
They don't
like it was
stop and
fun.
take like massive breaks for commercials, and they don't like I've seen WWE things where like the guy comes to the ring and he's gonna cut a promo, but there's a commercial first, so he just like stands outside the ring for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Right,
and when you're
right.
there in person, it's super awkward because it goes dark while they go to commercial and they play the commercials in the arena. You have to
Oh,
watch
really?
the
That's
commercials
horrible.
in the arena. Yeah.
That sounds awful.
And it's so awkward, and they're standing there and he's standing there like in the ring with his mic, like just walking around, like there's all this build up, and then it's just like it's dark, like it just kills so much of you suspend your disbelief,
That's
for
horrible. They used to like kill time. Like I remember I was in New York and there was a Raw there in like 2002. So I went to it at Madison Square Garden because I'd never been to Madison Square Garden. So I went to the show and they did a thing where Jericho came out and then they went to commercial, and then after the commercial he's going to cut a promo. But during those like 3 minutes he just like talked to the crowd.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was fun.
Yeah, they don't even do that anymore. They stand there in the dark with the microphone and they wait for them to come back on air. I mean, it's so bad. And you have to watch the commercials. They have like WWE commercials there. You have to sit and watch them.
That's terrible.
It sucks. And then like I remember at the beginning of the show that I've been to, they try to get the crowd like hyped up. Like they have a couple like dark matches they have that are like online or whatever you can watch on now it's Peacock. It was their WWE network that you had to subscribe to. But like they'd have a couple dark matches and then they'd go into like the real show, and they'd have like the ring announcer would come out and like try to hype everybody up, and it was just really bad. And yeah, so you have somebody come out like marching out to do a promo and like cut the commercial, and then they're standing there in the ring with the microphone and it's dark and it's just commercials. It's terrible. It's a terrible
That's horrible.
product.
The dumbest is I've seen when they do it when like they come out to confront someone. Like wrestler A
Also,
in
then,
the
like,
ring,
Yeah.
They'll
and wrestler
just
B
stand
comes
there
out to
for
confront him, but
4
there's a break,
minutes.
so they just stand there looking at each other for 5 minutes.
And then
Oh
they
my
get
God.
mad.
I do have to give a honorable mention to my live show. Actually, the show that when I went to the one in LA, the Dynamite, and I talked to you guys after it, and then it's the first time I talked to you guys, and then you invited me on this goofy thing, so here I am. But my best friend since childhood got the tickets because she's friends with Saraya. So she's like, I got us tickets. Well, I had to work until 4:00. The show didn't start till what, 7?
Mhm.
Yeah, it took that long just to get from the hotel in Hollywood to where the arena was. It took
I
an
believe
hour,
it.
an hour and a half. Actually, I
LA
didn't get done till
sounds
4:30.
terrible.
Yeah, it took an hour and a half just to get there, and then but anyway, but I walk in and I have to pee because I've been in the car for an hour and a half,
And you're a biddy.
and I'm bitty and I have to pee every on the hour, at the hour, clockwork baby. But anyway, so I go down and the bathrooms at the Kia Forum in LA are underneath the ring,
That's
and I
so
just
weird.
hear boom, 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 constant. And I get up, I finally, get up to where my seats are, and it's Danielson and Takeshita going at it. And
Oh,
it was just, yeah, and that's what I walked into, was that match. And then I sat down with my bestie and like we watched it, and she'd never been to a wrestling show ever, and she just kept going. It was so funny to watch her watching it because she's never watched wrestling. Like she don't know what and she's just like, oh my god. She kept looking at me, Neffy, what? Oh my god. It was just so much fun to watch it for the show because that was a banger of a Dynamite, but also to experience it with someone who's like never watched wrestling in their life. And we have really good seats and stuff.
Was there a ladder match on that show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the Young
finals.
Bucks. Yeah, I think it was Death Triangle and Young
Yeah.
Bucks and Kenny, and they came out to Wayward Son, and it was
I
really
love that because the day of that show, there was like I was still using Twitter, and there was a whole thing on Twitter that day of like people thought Mercedes was going to show up because it was in LA, and Saraya had
wow.
like teased it a little bit, and that day like it came out that like Saraya had a bunch of tickets that she'd given out to people, and people were like, one of them's going to be Mercedes. She's used one of her tickets to give it to Mercedes. I'm like, I know who it is. It's Biddy.
it's me.
People were just like, it's going to be Mercedes and probably Trinity. She's booked off a whole like row, so it's a bunch of people. I'm like, nah, it's Biddy. Don't worry, guys.
Yep.
Amazing.
It was me and my best friend that's never saw. I don't think she'd ever seen a wrestling match in her life.
It's amazing.
She was also heavily pregnant during this, so
Ouch.
Caused by the AEW show.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like so good she got pregnant.
She sat down and immediately was like, "Oh
Wow.
no, I'm
She
6
saw
months
Kenny
pregnant."
Omega and was like, I'm pregnant now. Takeshita, what? And she's like,
That's
Yeah.
how that works. That's how Kenny Omega
Ah.
works.
you
Oh.
see enough Takeshita or Kenny Omega matches, you just get pregnant.
Oh, it was one after another, pretty much. Boom, preggers.
All right. On that note, does anybody have anything else to add before we close up shop?
No.
Okay.
It's been fun. I like this podcast. I'm glad
Yeah.
you guys are here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, my dude. Absolutely. Well, before we go, Brett, do you want to plug your place of business?
Sure. Abstract Tattoo and Gallery, Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania. 724-483-8883.
Sick. I'm gonna prank that number all the time.
Bun doesn't hang out there, does he?
You prank us. With your presence.
now.
Hey, that's VIP. That's VIP.
Yeah.
Well, don't
No,
go there and be a jag, or else Blasco will throw your ass out.
That's right.
That's right.
Semi-true.
That's 100% true. You know it.
I hold high court there, I will say,
True.
but it is
Not
what
as
it
high
is.
as Bun, but you're like right
True.
underneath. Bun.
Oh
Right.
no.
It's all good. That's there
He's
can
a
only be so
legend. I mean,
there can only be so many legends, and we lost one with Norris, so
Yes.
yeah, see, nobody
Samurai
does.
sword wielding black
Yes.
ninja.
Yes, Norris was one of the few good ones. But anyways,
That's
Before
for
we
next
go-
time.
that is for next time. Before we go, we just want to shout out Leonard too, real quick. Our friend is in Africa making
Yes.
a documentary for Vice TV. So Leonard, hope you're safe. Cannot wait to hear these gnarly stories for all the gnarly stuff you saw. And can't wait to see your film when it's over, when it's done, not over. And everybody else, thank you. Like, subscribe, share. It's
Pretty
been
cool that
fun.
we got to do 100 episodes.
Yes.
Very cool.
And
Yeah.
and hopefully we get to do 100 more. So
101. Oh, it's over.
Yep, that's it. That's the kicker. I refuse.
I'm
I
about
refuse
done
to do
with these
any more.
Jags.
I refuse anything
Jagoffs.
I refuse anything more than double digits.
It's just
that's-
going to be me talking about Bret Hart for an hour
It's
quietly.
gonna be Rick talking about how much he dislikes Chris Jericho for an hour.
Yes.
I'd listen to that. So you got one sub already.
To be fair, there are similar people on Reddit because someone posted his tour dates and was like, "Look, he's going to be off TV for a minute."
That's
Knowing
awesome.
Rick for as long as I have from the old Pens blog days, there's only one person that Rick hates more than Chris Jericho, and it's the hockey player Tanner Glass.
Oh, yeah.
He was a Penguin
Wow.
for a hot minute, and Rick
In-
just absolutely
In either
hated that guy.
case, it's not hatred. It's just I don't want to see you.